Round we go. There we go. Hey, good morning, everyone. And those on recording, this is Barbara, and I'm here at the YMCA, the Rogue Valley YMCA, to teach yoga this morning. So um, I trust everybody is doing well, and that your holiday season is unusual this year. But just one of the things that we do in yoga is to express our gratitude, and gratitude is a great um, feeling and an intention. So, with that in mind, what we usually start with is a few minutes of meditation and some mindfulness practice. So, if you want to for number one, get in a good seat. And for some people, you might be sitting on a block. Always recommend 2 blocks. Or I am on a blanket or a cushion. So, but what you want to do is not have your knees up like this, because then these hip flexors get really tight. So, and if you're on a blanket or something, if you just kind of tip forward, that allows the hips to go down. I mean, more tilting down. So that allows the knees to relax out a little more. So just a little, housekeeping there with respect to how you sit. And some people, I will give one more thing. Some people will sit like they'll have a block, and the block is either going to be on like a bench or it'll be on like that. And I do it this way, but you can sit on your block like this, and you could have 2 blocks stacked on top of each other, 2 blocks like a bench, and between your feet and your ankles. So find a comfortable place for yourself, and not everybody can cross their legs in comfort. So and remembering, and if anything ever hurts, so you want to stop doing it, because that's not going to help you at all. So now let's start with meditation, and just either close your eyes or you can look at the ground with soft eyes. So just kind of go within. Breathing in through your nose and out through your nose. And just notice how you feel in your body right now. And notice your mind, the quality of your mind. Maybe you might want to call it the state of your mind right now. And also, as a practice of being present to the moment, feel the air against your skin, maybe against your hands, or your face, or your hair. Just notice that movement of air, very subtle. As you breathe in, imagine that the spine is composed of these multifidi muscles that go up the spine individually all the way up. Imagine that as you breathe in, they're all standing to attention, all the way up your spine. As you breathe out, you release. So it allows you to lift up, lifting your spine, lifting your collarbones, and breathing out. Take a couple more breaths, just like this, imagining that you're lifting up. And then release the breath to relax. Release your hands, allow them to relax on your lap, on your knees, or maybe in your lap. Allow your shoulders to also relax. You could actually put your hands, fingertips on your shoulders and almost like pretend that you're drawing them gently out. And that really allows the shoulder blades to kind of slide a little bit more snugly down the back. And then bring your hands to your heart center, Anjali Mudra. Again, as I mentioned earlier, gratitude. Maybe between your hands there's a empty space. And imagine in that empty space are all the things you're grateful for in this holiday season. As you're coming into your practice. And bring your hands to your lap and then opening your eyes as you lift your head into your practice. And I thought I would start our practice today with a breath that I haven't done too much, the teaching wise, but it's a really helpful breath practice for your lungs. And basically it's called straw breathing. And so what you do is you breathe in through your nose and think of a whole body breath. And when you breathe out, it's like you're breathing out through your mouth now. You're going to breathe out through the mouth like you're breathing through a straw. So we're going to do like 5 rounds of breath here, breathing in through the nose, full body breath, breathing out through the mouth like you're breathing through a straw. And the out breath will be a lot slower. It take a lot longer than a normal out breath. And I invite you to close your eyes while you do this so that you can, really take in the sensation. So let's start right now. So breathing in through the nose, full body breath. And pause at the top. And then breathe out through that straw, through the mouth. And then again, breathing in, holding at the top, and then breathing out through the straw. And 3 more times on your own, at your level and your pace. And when you complete your fifth out breath, you can relax. And just notice the function of the lungs in this whole process. And then open your eyes. And we're going to do, you might want to change, if you got your legs crossed, change the cross of your legs. And your legs could also be, I didn't mention this before, but you could just have them crossed. This is one version, and this is the other one. So you can have them crossed, and that's perfectly, whatever works, whatever works. So we're going to do a exercise I call, or yoga pose I call Circle of Joy. So bring your hands to Anjali Mudra, and breathing in, bringing your elbows up, breathing out, press forward so your upper back gets rounded here. Breathing in, coming up, and just relaxing the shoulders here. And breathing out, you want to bring your hands to the back of your head so that your little pinky fingers are at the base of your head. And then breathing in, lift your elbows, look up to the ceiling. And then breathing out, press up. And breathing in while you are here. And then breathing out, you can bring your arms down and look to your right. Follow your hand as it goes down, down, down. And then coming back to center. We'll do that on the other side. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, overhead. Breathing out, bring the hands, they're facing towards the ground. Just bring that little pinky fingers underneath that little bony bone in the back of your head. And then breathing in, lifting the elbows, looking up. And breathing out, pushing up. Breathing in again. And then breathing out. This time look to your left. Watch your hand as it comes down, down, down. And here we are. And we're going to do one more without the head going left or right. So breathing in, breathing out. Really stretch the upper back. If you have issues with upper back rounding, you do not want to push this. So breathing in, lifting, palms to the ceiling. And when you come down, bring the palms down. They're facing the bottom, and then flip them. So now they're facing the ceiling, and then come back and lift your heart up. And just feel all the bones moving in your body as you do that. That's just a perfect way to end that. And so now let's come into a twist I'm going to get back a little bit. You can see my feet. Okay. So with the right leg forward and the left knee bent. And what you're going to do is do a twist, but I want you to be considering having the hips. You're going to twist over to the left, but have the hips go right and have the hip points come together. So it's kind of like you're going to do this little twisty bit in the other direction. So taking the right hand on the left knee and have your right foot, your toes pointed to the ceiling. So this heel is pushed out. So you're breathing in. Yeah. So I'm just going to bear with me just a moment here. I apologize. There's activity going here on the Y, and the door wasn't closed. So anyway, I'm sure you're getting set up. So right foot forward, left knee bent. Again, think of the hips going over to the right. And flex that right foot. So now the right hand on the left knee. And before you do your twist, you want to lift up. So we're not doing this twist around where your upper back is rounded. You lift up and imagine your hips are going to the right. And you're going to take your left hand behind you, right hand on the knee, just on the other side of the knee. You're pressing the hand into the knee into the hand as you lift up. And now twist over to your left. Keep those hip points pointed the other way if you can. Breathing. Maybe doing your straw breathing here. and then coming to center. Let's do that on the other side. So your left foot is forward and right knee bent. And this time the hips going to the left. Okay. And it's a very subtle movement, so don't expect a big wrenching movement. It's just a subtle movement. And it's really to keep your hips equally on the ground. So left hand on the right knee. And then you're going to take your right hand behind you. You're still looking forward. Lift up with your in-breath and out-breath. Twist to your right. Some people might have their left arm over their right knee like this. That's fine too. And then release coming to the front. And then we're going to do one that you're probably very familiar with called bird dog. But the purpose of bird dog, and for some reason, let's just, there we go. So we're going to do bird dog. What we're going to do is think of it as a spine neutralizer. So I'm going to come over to table pose. And think of it as a spine neutralizer here. You're here in table pose. And then I'm not going to mirror you this time. I'll get back here. And then bring the left foot back. You're on your toes. Toes are curled under. And like we were doing before with the hip points coming to the middle, think of that real drawing your hip points to the middle, engaging the core, and then lifting that left leg up, and not any higher than your hip though. And then you can bring your right arm up in a handshake and really engage that core. This will help neutralize the spine. So we just did a twist. And you're looking at the front of your mat. And your toes of your left foot are pointed towards the midline. And then come down. Straighten this up a little bit there. And then we're going to do the other foot, right foot back. And again, engage that core muscle. Lift the right leg no higher than the hips. Push out through that heel. And now bring the left arm up in handshake. Breathing. We're just going to do 2 on each side. And release. And let's do the same thing on the other side again. So left foot back, engage core, lift, push through the heel, and then the right arm can come up like a handshake. And you don't want your head hanging. Look at the front of your mat. And release. One last one on this side, right leg up. Again, toes pointed to the midline, push through the heel, left arm. And release. And this is a perfect good time to do, when I have a block nearby, let's just do some cat-cows. So breathing in for cat, and you're not just doing the upper back, breathe the whole back out like a parachute. And breathe out for cow, leading with your tailbone, heart lifting. And breathe back. Push through your hands and breathe out. Breathe in, pushing. And breathe out. Excuse me. Now bring your knees a little wider if that works. Some people keep their knees together. If you have your knees wider, you can just go back a little further. Coming back, if you have a block, you can put it on the middle setting and rest your hand on the block. And coming back into child's pose. And this just makes it easier for your rear end that hits your heels. And one thing you can do if you're at home and you want to do a child's pose, but you want to feel real comfortable with it, is you can put a cushion underneath your thighs so there's no gap. Just notice how you feel right now. Notice as we come out of that, the sensation of the air against your skin, because as you move, the air is moving around you all invisibly, but you can sense the movement as you're moving, the movement of the air as you move. So let's come up to standing now. And I'm going to come up, first of all, into Uttanasana from the ground. Keep the blocks nearby, of course. And then come up to standing. And we're going to do, let's see that we have, let me adjust that camera a little bit. Higher. Yeah. So I might have to adjust the camera when we go back down to the ground. But let's do a thing called a jazz dance. So basically your feet are pointed out. Your knees are over your ankle. So if you find your knees are sickling in, just have a shorter stance. But find what's comfortable for you. And you don't want to be doing this big, long forward thing. What you want is a long back. And this is what it looks like from the side. And this is what it looks like here. So your shoulders are right by your ears. And then if it's possible for you to just drop down, drop your pelvis down. And just feel the breathing that's happening down in the belly here, in the pelvic area. And then let's come up a little bit. So here we are into a higher stance. And again, now you're in a higher stance. You want the back to be more or less straight with that little curve in the back. Not too much of a curve. And we're going to do a thing called yes, no. So it'll look like this. So it pulls back into a fist and that one goes out. It's not quite yoga, but it's good for breathing. So let's just do some breathing here. Like a yes, no, yes, no. So, and make them speed up a little. Mindful of your knees. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ha. And then you can straighten your feet to make them parallel. You can come up and the legs are all straight now. Just to get a little upper body movement there. And then it's going to come down again to the horse stance, jazz dance. I think there's a difference between them. I've just always called this the same thing, horse stance. And let's take the interlace the hands behind the head. Again, mindful of your knees. And then lifting your heart up. A little back bend as you're here. If you want to bring your elbows together. And then bring them apart. This gives your throat a stretch. And release. Perfect. So we're going to do a little, this might be helpful for some people. It certainly is helpful for me. I'm going to bring this camera down just a tiny bit. See your feet a little bit better. So we're going to do something that I have struggled with myself. And we're going to start in a downward facing dog. So on your knees, in for table here. And if you've ever struggled to bring your legs forward from downward dog into some kind of a runner's lunge, you'll know what I mean. And so let's just come into downward facing dog first of all. We're just going to play with downward dog here. So again, lifting your hips up, you come on your tippy toes, and then coming down, and just feel that whoosh in your belly as you just kind of bring it in. And then you can bend your elbows like you're holding onto a beach ball and bring the elbows in so the armpits come in and up. And here you're in downward dog. And then come down to the knees, almost touching the floor, coming up, coming down to the knees, and up, and the knees, and up. And the next one you're probably familiar with, so it's kind of a precursor. So taking the right leg behind you, I'm not going to mirror you. You can bring your knee to your chest. You've done this before, and out. And one more time to the chest, and out, and then the foot can come down. So with the breath, breathing in, the leg up, breathing out, left knee to chest, breathing in, back, and out, left knee to chest. And then here we are into downward dog again. So for the next part of this, I'm going to recommend you come back and grab your blocks. So you can have your blocks in the middle setting. And we're going to do downward dog with the block, hands on the blocks. And I recommend, for me at least, and it might work for you, is to put the palm of your hand close on the block, on the side of the block closest to you, and your index finger is going to point out diagonally. So it will be a different downward dog than you're used to, but it would be handy for the next thing. So you might want to watch this. So I'm bringing my right leg back, and to come into a crescent, like a runner's lunge, just to bring that right knee in, and you're rounding your back. You come forward like you're going into plank, and then you bring your foot down. And because my legs are so long, it is harder for me to do this. So, and I have a short torso compared to the legs. So I'm just showing you this because this is handy on how do I get down. Now, if you have shorter legs and a longer torso, depending on your situation, you might not need blocks. But for me, this is easier. So we do this again on the other side. We'll do this one more time on each side, but left leg back, and then you hug the knee. This is like a movement. Hug the knee into the chest, round the back, come into like a plank pose, that much forward, and then you can bring your foot down. And then if you want, balance challenge for me too. Come up into your crescent lunge. Crescent lunges always are a balance challenge for me, and that's why I keep doing them. Let's do one more time on each side. And this time maybe a little bit faster. Right leg back in, comes down. And that's one side. Bring my feet forward to get my knee over my heel. Okay. And then back, other side. And here we are, left back. And there we go. And again, I can bring my toes, scoot my foot forward a little bit. And I'm going to be doing this over time to practice with it, but gracefully. So I'm going to walk my feet to my hands, come up. But I want to show you, because in case that's an issue for you, like it is for me, it's something I'm going to work on and become better at. But we all have anatomy that we're working with, and my anatomy is long legs and short torso. So the next one we're going to do is Warrior 2, and I think I'll do it facing you. Right foot forward, left foot back. And if you're a woman, have your heels in alignment. Have a block. You might want to block on the outside of the front foot. Okay. Your feet should be about as long as one leg length, or maybe a little shorter, depending on your abilities here. And the heel to heel alignment, if you're female, if you're a male, have the front heel to the back arch. And of course, you're lifting. And look at that front knee. If it's going in, lift the heel, allow the knee to be coming out of it. The back foot is off diagonally, okay? So for warrior two, you can bring your hands like this. So one hand palm over the other and lift up. And then come down, and then your hands can be above your shoulders here. They don't need to be down here on right in line. They can be up. Easier for the shoulders. The warrior two, Virabhadrasana 2. And again, the core is engaged. Imagine your tailbone is going to the ground. And your outer foot, your back foot, outer foot area is also touching the ground. And what we're going to do is reverse side angle. So coming down, and we've done this, you've probably done this before. One way it can be done is to just hook the left elbow around the right knee and do Anjali Mudra. The other way is you're down here, making sure that your left hip is down and forward, and take that left hand. You can have it on a block. You can have it on the side of your thigh, just above your knee. And then you can have the right hand on your hip and then open up to the right. The other way is to take this hand forward. So it's reverse. And really, man, notice the back foot there, the outside edge of the back foot. Again, your hand can be on your hip. You're opening to the right, your shoulders opening. And then release. And then you can actually come over to a wide angle forward fold. So just rotate your foot in to be parallel to the back foot. And then coming up, hands on your hip crease. And when you come up for something like this, you can imagine you're on a fat horse and you can just take your thighs out as you come up. It helps your lower back. And let's do the other side. This is warrior two to, again, reverse side angle, extended side angle. Getting the foot alignment, getting the knee alignment, again, the core and the tailbone. Lifting your heart and come into your warrior two. Here we are. Lifting, and then coming forward. So that right hand could be on the block. It could be just over your left knee and the left hand on the hip. Or if you want to, you can have it forward. Mindful of the back foot. This is a balance pose. Open your left shoulder. And release. And bring the back foot to meet the front foot. You are in forward fold. I'm going to step back a little bit just for the camera. You can bend your knees in forward fold, and you can hold on to your elbows and just kind of go back and forth. And then since we're not doing a sun salutation, I like to get these in. And then come from here with your rear end back, lifting up. I'm going to do this sideways. Lifting up your heart. So you notice my knees are not well over here. The knees are slightly bent, but a lot of the movement is your rear end, lifting your heart, arms forward. And your weight is on your heels and your toes are down on the floor. You're looking forward. And then slowly coming up. Reaching up. And let's just take a moment here. Breathing in and out, closing your eyes, coming into a Tadasana. Giving your shoulders permission to relax. Just noticing now the space that you're occupying as you or still. You've been in movement. And release. And so, yeah, that would be a good one to do. And for some heart opening. Now, I'm going to grab my strap. For those of you who have a yoga strap, you can do this with a yoga strap too. So the strap would need to be about as wide. I'll come up to the camera, you may not be able to. Like about that wide. And if you have a strap, you can put your hands in the strap. If you don't have the strap, you can interlace your hands behind your back, okay? So you've got options here. The strap is nice. It's a nice alternative. So really looking at all four corners of the feet, grounded your feet, your feet are grounded. Your tailbone is going to the ground like a dinosaur tail, and you're lifting your heart up without you don't want to get your lower legs like popping out like a back bend. You want to just lift, and then if you have the strap, you press your hands, your wrists against the strap and lift. If you have interlaced hands, it's like you're trying to pull the hands apart. Lift, and then we're going to come forward. And if your hands are interlaced, comes back as far forward as much as you can with your arms, and your shoulders are away from your ears. Your knees are bent, and coming up, you engage your core, push through the heels, lift your heart, and release. You can shake it out. Okay. So the next thing I thought we'd do is a little bit of balance. I'm going to stand further back. Excuse me. So this coming up to your tiptoes. So coming up to the tiptoes. So it's a balance challenge for me too. Coming up, just right now, coming up onto your tiptoes. Let's do that a few times to get used to it. And then the next time you come up, see if you can stay there for a little bit. So this will rely on your ankle strength as well. And gaze at something in the ground that isn't moving. And come down. And we'll do this a couple of more times with the arms overhead. So coming up, arms overhead, and coming down. And think of it doing it with your breath. So breathing in as you reach the top of the breath. You're there. Breathing out as you reach the end of your breath, your heels come down. Next time you come up, stay up, look at that unmoving part of the ground to help you with balance. Engage your core. And you can move your hips around if you want to. So this is something you can do. You know, you're at home. You're just, you know, you could be at the sink in case you lose your balance. You've got the sink there to put your hand on. Then you can start practicing this to build up strength in your ankles and also for your feet. So next pose, and the triangle pose, we were just doing like that reversed extended side angle, right? Well, with triangle and looking at the heel placement, and both legs are straight. I'm going to do this from the side. I'm not going to mirror, so you get to see it. This is my right leg forward. I'm looking at my heels to heel alignment, but the knee is straight. And what you're doing with triangle is a lot of like bringing the hip forward and then opening the heart. So you've got one movement happening here and the other movement on the upper body. So you bring the arms up like a V. And the other part of this is to really engage. So this is my right foot forward. Really engage your right hip because you don't want your right hip to be going out. So that would look like, so this will look like my left leg because it mirrors, but you don't want this happening like this thing happening, okay? Because what you want is tucking this in. So real firm up the hip. So there's those muscles in there called the deep six, of which one of them is a piriformis. So you're firming up your hip before you come into this pose. So I'm going to come from the side. Mound. And here you are. Actually, I'm going to grab a block. So we can start again if you are going to do the same thing. Here we are, coming down, firming that right hip, left hip coming down, and heart coming forward, left side, I should say. And the hands can be on the block. Here you are in triangle pose, looking forward. You can put your hand, you can look down if you like. And the other thing I thought we might want to do is just bring the arms down and just bring them any way you want. Behind you, just use your own freedom of movement. Hugging that right hip in if you're forward. Just let it do their thing. You've got a steady base. And then bring your arm up one more time. And then release, bring that arm down. And then take the feet, bring them into a wide angle forward fold. And you can come down. So in between sides, let's just do a little resting pose here in wide angle forward fold. So you can stack two blocks. You see I've got two blocks. And maybe yours looks like this. Maybe you can come all the way down, or maybe you have one block. This works for me. And just come down and rest your head on the block for a moment. Your forehead. Breathe. Maybe using your straw breath. And then let's come to the other side. So the block, if you wanted a block, it could be on the outside of your front foot. This we are. So to come out of where we were just at, you want to press the legs apart, like you're pressing the mat apart between your legs to allow you to come up to standing. Again, reminding your hip, this is my right hip, is going to come down and forward. And the upper body is going to be going the other direction. You've got this. A lot of standing movements in yoga are actually twists. Arms up. Again, firm the left butt muscles there, the left glute muscles. As you come down, press with the big toe mat on the left foot. And maybe, here we are. Actually, I think the last time I had my block on the inside, it doesn't really matter. You could have it on the outside too. I'll just do what I did last time. Firm the left hip. And you can do all kinds of place the block, all kinds of places. There's not like one way, but I'm putting it on the inside, I guess. If my memory serves me right. And then let's just bring that arm over. One thing I realized with age is that I don't hold the memories as well as I used to. The short-term memory is not as good as it used to be. Just bring the arms around and just find a nice little way to do this for you. Right. Firm the left hip. Remember, it's nice and toned. And then bring that arm down. And let's come back into wide angle forward fold. And from there, we're going to come to the ground. And this time we're going to come to Virasana. Again, you can have 2 blocks. You can block like a bench, and I put mine in between, but I'm warmed up now, I can just sit on my heels. So it'll depend on what your ability is there. And let's just use this opportunity to close your eyes for a moment. And feel very imperceptible, almost like a whiff of air circles your hands as they're placed maybe on your lap. Maybe you have bare arms. And even the sensation of your breath coming in your nose. And now let's do a side bend over to the right. So taking the lift up, and the right hand is down here on the ground, and then you're just going to do a nice side bend. So what you want to do is make sure that left hip bone, or that I should say the sit bone, is sitting on your heel or on the block. And to make that arm straighter, you can bring it back, look over your shoulder. Oh, there's my shoulder, right? And then you can just do a little arrow. It almost makes the arm straighter. And just feel the side of your body getting a good breath here. And then coming up, use your left belly muscle to bring you up slowly, and do the other side. Lift up. So you lift up before you side bend, so this side doesn't get all scrunched. So then you bring your right arm over to your left, and you could do your little, I call this a toy soldier. The arm can come out like that. You're getting a really good stretch on the right side of your body. I'm going to put my hand down on the ground. It makes it easier. Breathing. Jaw breathing. Very good for anxiety. And coming up. And we're going to do something that may be difficult for you. It has taken me time to do this over time. We're going to sit on our toes. If this is really hard for you, you can sit on your toes on a block. Have blocks on the flat setting. Kind of like what we do for camel. Like an assisted camel, you can have your toes on here and stretch your toes out this way. Okay, if it's really hard for you. The other way, to get these out of the way, is to actually just sit on your toes. This is the more intense way. And not, if you can help it, not to go forward, but just sit back on your toes. Breathing in and out. And this can be painful. And again, this is available to you. That you don't want to have pain that is signaling something that this is not going to be helpful. So if it is helpful, don't do it. But if you can stretch the toes, that's really, really great. And when you can't stand it anymore, come forward and curl your toes. Curl them, curl them, and then release. And you can then just do this little guy here, okay? And then to stretch out the other way, I'm going to do this from behind. I'm going to take my left foot, top of the foot, and put it in the bottom of my right foot and lean back like this to massage underneath my foot. Again, if you can sit like this, now this would not be something you could probably do on the blocks, but you could give it a shot. I haven't tried it on the blocks yet. But it's a little easier than the toe stretch. More. Just flip the feet, right, the left foot, and sit back. You have to readjust because you've got bones in one foot going into the back of the other foot. And then coming forward, when you can't stand that one, let's do a thing called T-blocks. This is really great for the upper back. And so it'll depend on your ability. So what you're going to do is, this is a block on the high setting. This is one option. And this is on the middle setting. So it's going to be across your shoulder blades. This is your head. Now, if you can't do this, because this may be hard for you, your upper neck things, then you can put this on the middle setting for your head and this on the flat setting for your shoulder blades. I'm going to go on the top settings. Okay, so what you do is, so it takes a little bit of adjustment here. Okay, what am I going to do here? There we go. I've got my shoulder blades on, and then my head is here. And then your arms are out to the side. Now this will depend. You might be on the lower setting. So just find the setting that works for you. And for some people, they can't do this. So if that's where you're at, you might want to just have a longer shavasana. And you can close your eyes here. Okay, now if you want to lengthen your legs out, that's okay too. I like to bend my knees. And so imagine, if you will, that as you breathe out, you're breathing out all the stuck emotions and stuckness in your body, and it's coming down like a waterfall, down your chest, down your abdomen, and out your body. So you're breathing in fresh new life, and you're breathing out all that stuff that needs to be eliminated. Just imagine that for a few minutes. The waterfall of your body. And those of you who are already in Shavasana, you can just stay there. And just have a longer rest. Your palms are faced to the ceiling, opening your heart. And when you're ready, you can roll off. You can stay there. Number one, you can stay in that position. You don't have to come off it, or if you're watching, just put it on pause, and I'm going to stay here for a while. That's great. It's perfect. Otherwise, the rest of us come in Shavasana and find your comfortable place. And another thing you could do for Shavasana is get a towel, just a little, maybe a hand towel, and just kind of roll it up and put it over your eyes like an eye pillow. So that's a really nice option. So let's come into Shavasana now. Letting yourself just kind of melt into the ground. Feeling the shoulder blades, if they're still on the blocks, just feeling them sink into the blocks or into the ground. Another option you could do for Shavasana is put your legs up the wall. We'll have to do that sometime, do legs up the wall. It's really nice. Just find your place. And if you, another option for the future, if you have a blanket nearby, you can cover yourself with a blanket. And rest and just notice how you feel now. Notice the mind activity now. And now breathe deeply into your heart, into your lungs. Heart opening we just had. And if you want to stretch your arms up like you just got up in the morning, coming back into your room. And wiggling your fingers and toes. Now just move to the right side of your mat, maybe into like a fetal position. When you're ready, push yourself up into a seated position that's comfortable for you and close your eyes. When you get there, and then bringing your hands to your heart center in Anjali Mudra. Remembering all the things you're grateful for, that you carry in. I'm not going to be back here next week or the week after, so we're not going to have yoga for another 2 weeks. So it'll be 2021 the next time we have yoga. So just a little reminder for you. So while you're home and you're in the holiday season, just remember those things you're grateful for. You can always replay these yoga YouTubes to get some practice in there. So thank you so much for joining me today, and thank YMCA for having this. And this is Barb again. Thank you so much. Bowing your head to your hands. Namaste. Thank you very much. We're at the hour, and I really appreciate you coming here today. Um, there we go, getting that mic around. So I want to thank you again as I get closer and closer. The camera goes. Thanks a bunch. Happy holidays, and look forward to seeing you another week. Take care. Bye-bye.